It's been about 6 months since I publicly admitted to being dumb enough to try to build an all-wheel drive RX-7 in my garage. The main issue I'm having is just packaging. So this is an M54 B25 2.5 liter inline 6 BMW motor. Now, if you know anything about RX-7s, you know that from factory they had a rotary engine, and those rotary engines were very small. This inline 6 is not as small, it's not even close to as small as the rotary was. You can actually see that something along the lines of 2.5 cylinders are actually inside the car. This presents some small concerns. Legroom is one of them, not having a heater core is one of them, but also stuff like, firewall. There's a reason why it's called a firewall. You want to keep the fire on the other side of the wall from you. And the fire happens inside the cylinders, of which 2.5 would be inside the car. It kind of seemed like a shame to me do all this work and just wind up with an all-wheel drive car. All-wheel drive cars, they're kind of old news now. Maybe in like the 80s, they were like, oh wow, all-wheel drive. So I'm kind of thinking about making it into a hybrid. So this is my initial mock-up for a hybrid first generation all-wheel drive RX-7, which is an insane sentence to say out loud. In the front, I managed to find a 3D model of the motor out of a Nissan Leaf. You can see on the top here, it actually doesn't quite fit under the hood, but this is including the charger and inverter on top. It looks like you can actually take those sections off and make the electrical connection up with a cable. So I will investigate that option later. But for now, I think this is very feasible to have this Nissan Leaf motor in the front of the car. Here in the rear, I've got a 3D scan of a 13B motor that I took when I used to have one of those awesome engines. And I managed to find just a generic front-wheel drive Honda-style transaxle scan. This isn't the exact one I want to use because I want to use one with a limited slip differential. But in general, this is kind of how it would look if I were to do this, which I'm leaning towards doing it because, like I said, if I'm doing this much work, let's build something totally crazy. The next step, I believe, is to look into actually designing my suspension pickup points, basically engineering my suspension so that it works properly through different body roll, heave, all different motions that happen naturally to a car as you drive it. So I found some 3D software that I will probably wind up buying a license for. It'll be about $500 US. And that should be able to help me locate my pickup points so that I can start building something. The main challenges will be fitting a rotary engine to a Honda front-wheel drive transaxle. That's a big one. Another big challenge will be fitting the Nissan Leaf motor in the front of the car. Because the hood of this car actually dives down at a pretty steep angle. When you get to the front, it's not a lot of vertical space. Anyway, so that's where I'm at with this car, or with what's left of this car, and I've got some work to do. So thanks for watching.